It's an honor to be with you today. We are one of groups in Class TT48. Our group has 4 members, Huyền, Oanh, Dan, and me, Chang. We are going to talk about the most notorious terrorist organization, Al-Qaeda. We will only take 10 minutes of your time. We have divided our presentation into 3 parts. Firstly, Ms. Huyền will introduce background history of the Al-Qaeda. Secondly, Ms. Oanh and Ms. Dan will talk to you activities of the Al-Qaeda. And finally, I will give you some information about Al-Qaeda after the death of Bin Laden. We will be glad to answer any questions at the end of our talk. Now, Ms. Huyền will introduce background and history of the Al-Qaeda.
Thank you, Chang. It's my turn to talk to you about background history of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is a global militant Islamist organization. It was founded at some point between 1988 and late 1989 by Osama bin Laden, Abdullah Azzam, and several other militants. As you can see from the slide, he is Osama bin Laden. He was a member of a wealthy Saudi Arabian family and used to join forces in Pakistan fighting against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. Following the Soviet mission in Afghanistan, some radical Islamic militants wanted to expand their operation at a global scale. Then a number of interrelated operations were formed. Bin Laden brought these groups together to set up a terrorist network, eventually called Al-Qaeda as we know. Al-Qaeda always blames the West for the problems of the Islamic world. As a result, one of its principal goals was to drive the U.S. armed forces out of Saudi Arabia and Somalia as well by using violence. So I just finished my part about background and history of Al-Qaeda here. Next, my friend Oanh will show you the activities of this organization.
Thank you, Huyền. Now I will talk to you about the activities of Al-Qaeda. Since its inception, Al-Qaeda has implemented and has conducted operations in many areas of the world, such as in Africa, Europe, and in the Arab world. First of all, in Africa, Al-Qaeda has carried out many bombing attacks in some northern countries, for instance, Libya, Kenya, and Sudan, as well as supported party in civil war in Somalia. In Europe, Al-Qaeda conducted a number of attacks to trade, hospital, embassy in Spain, Madrid, London. Additionally, Al-Qaeda claims that they were planning a spectacular attack and making threats to conduct bombing to countries with hatred in Europe, such as Germany, Italy, Denmark, and many other European countries. In addition, many operations were committed by this organization in the Arab world, especially in the Middle East. Besides Iraq war participation, Al-Qaeda contributed to train Palestinians to serve in Afghanistan or to take part in war between Palestine and Israel. They are also implicated in the bombing of the United Nations headquarters in Iraq and hundreds of other small and large-scale attacks on the military and civilian targets. Besides the gardening terrorist activity, Al-Qaeda has extended its activity on the internet, and as a result, its operation has become more sophisticated, including finance, recruitment, mobilization, and information sharing. Moreover, the content of multimedia includes training clips, picture victims, short video about suicide bomber, and many other terrible scenes. I have just finished my part here, and now Dan will give you some information about specific attacks of Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda has carried out a total of 6 major attacks. In each case, the leadership planned the attack many years in advance, arranged for the shipment of weapons and explosives, and used the privatized businesses to provide operatives with safe houses and false identities. The first attack committed by Al-Qaeda was in 1992. 2 bombs were exploded in Yemen, targeting on the Mukti Hotel and the Gold Mahal Hotel. In fact, no Americans were killed. The second one was the 1993 World Trade Center bombing in New York City. It was aimed to devastate the entire station. However, the 2 towers were not disrupted. After that, 3 other attacks were conducted, including the Bill Clinton assassination, the U.S. embassy bombing in East Africa, and the missile destroyer USS Cole suicide bombings. These attacks brought an inspiration for bin Laden to prepare for a further attack on the U.S. It was the September 11th attacks. These were the most devastating terrorist acts in history. 2 of the airplanes were deliberately made to fly into the new World Trade Center towers in New York City. The third one crashed into the Pentagon, and the last one crashed into a field near Pennsylvania. Can you imagine the consequences of these attacks? Approximately 3,000 people were killed. These attacks also caused at least $10 billion in property and infrastructure damage, as well as had a significant effect on the U.S. economy and the global markets. Bin Laden asserted that they conducted these attacks not to aim at women and children, but the America's icons of military and economic power. He also cited the U.S. support of Israel, the presence of U.S. troops in Saudi Arabia, the U.S. sanctions against Iraq as motivation for. However, after the September 11th attacks, Al-Qaeda didn't have any noticeable marks until the death of its leader. And now, Chang will give you some main points of Al-Qaeda after the death of bin Laden in 2008.
Thanks, Dan. 10 years after the September 11 attacks, the Al-Qaeda longtime leader Osama bin Laden was killed in American raids on his compound in Pakistani city of Abbottabad on May the 1st, 2011. On May the 18th, 2011, Saif al-Adel became the interim leader of the Al-Qaeda, but the official leader is al-Zawahiri, who was announced on June the 16th, 2011. He is the commander for attacks of the Al-Qaeda up to now. Al-Qaeda hasn't carried out any significant attacks so far. 4 years ago, some leaked document shows that Al-Qaeda did plan to conduct some attacks on strategic objects of the U.S., but none of them occurred. Some Al-Qaeda affiliates seem to be weakened in recent years. However, the Al-Qaeda supporters are still working and growing in many areas, such as in the eastern of Libya, Syria, and Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. Since the rise of the Islamic State terrorism force, Al-Qaeda lost its influence to radical Islamic movements. Therefore, Al-Qaeda has many actions to attempt to confront the IS about ideology, philosophy, and the dream to establish a global Islamic kingdom. I have just talked about the Al-Qaeda situation after the death of bin Laden. And now, Ms. Nguyen will conclude our presentation.
To sum up, Al-Qaeda is a terrorist organization formed more than 20 years ago and has brought about particular consequences to the world. However, since the recent rise of the IS, no one knows how the future of Al-Qaeda will be, when it becomes part of the IS or when it gains its power back. The current leader of Al-Qaeda, al-Zawahiri, isn't the one who can decide. This brings us to the end of our presentation today. Thank you for your listening. Have you got any questions? You please. First of all, I want to say thank you for giving us interesting information. And I have a question for you. Why Al-Qaeda lost its influence to radical Islamic movements worldwide?
Thank you for your questions. On behalf of our group, I will give you the answer of your questions. There are 3 reasons why Al-Qaeda lost its influence. First reason is the death of bin Laden. It was a huge shock for Al-Qaeda when losing its founder and also the leader. This weakened the relation between Al-Qaeda affiliates and decreased its power. The second reason is the attack and repression of the U.S., which limited the activity of Al-Qaeda in many areas of the world. and the development of the IS is the last reason. It constantly expanded operation and conduct many atrocities. Many affiliates of Al-Qaeda joined the IS force, so IS becomes stronger and gradually reversing the influence of Al-Qaeda. Are you satisfied? Thank you.
Anyone have questions, please? Okay, you, please.
Thanks for your presentation, and I have a question for you. What is the international reactions after the September 11 attacks?
Thank you for your question, and I will give you some information about this matter. The September 11 attacks were denounced by mass media and governments worldwide. Tensions increased in many countries between Muslims and non-Muslims. Many people attempted to flee Afghanistan following the attacks, fearing a response by the U.S. Leaders in most Middle East countries and Afghanistan condemned the attacks and introduced anti-terrorism legislation, as well as froze any bank accounts suspected of Al-Qaeda ties. Particularly of Pakistan's closed its border with Afghanistan. Do I make myself clear? Okay, thank you. Anyone else? If no one has any further questions, so we would like to conclude our presentation today here. We really appreciate your attendance. Thank you. Goodbye and see you soon.